Previously, we learned how to command the computer to print something. Now, let's dive deeper and learn how to store values in JavaScript. Imagine yourself as a scientist in a chemistry lab. So if you look around the lab, you'll find several cylinders. Each cylinder contains different types of gases, starting from oxygen to nitrogen. But how do we differentiate which cylinder contains which gas? To solve that problem, we get it labeled with a gas name on it. Similarly, if we want to store some information, we store it in our memory. And we've all the information labeled in order to avoid confusion. If someone asks our age, we don't tell them our grandfather's name. Tongue. Do we? Definitely no. In programming, this storing container is called variable. So, variables are containers which store values. We place values in these containers and then use those values by referring to the container's name. Let's say we want to print Programming Hub. Don't you think that's a lot of writing? Instead, let's use a variable to save our energy, d. In JavaScript, creating a variable is called declaring a variable. Every programming language has their set of reserved names which are called keywords. Variables are declared with the var keyword followed by an equal to equals, and the value. Let's go ahead and save the word Programming Hub in a variable x. Don't forget to close the statement with a semicolon. Now if we want to print a text twice. Now if we want to print a text twice. There's a better way to write less code to perform the same task, which we'll learn soon, d. So, words are called strings in programming language. Hope you remember it, we will use this name a lot. Strings are sequence of alphanumeric characters. String values are always written with quotations. In life, we've to take several decisions. But all of that comes down to two options, i.e. yes or no, which in programming terms is referred to as true or false. This true or false is called as Boolean values. A Boolean value is declared in the following way. Few points to keep in mind while creating a variable with a Boolean value. Boolean represents either true or false. Boolean is always defined without quotations. If you remember, double quotations are used to declare strings. Hence we don't use double quotations while creating a variable with Boolean values. Let's say we want to store our age in a variable and print it. We would do this by first storing the age in a variable followed by printing it out. Let's start by creating a variable. Mind you, age and age will be two different variables because JavaScript is a case-sensitive language. Few points to keep in mind while creating variable with number as a value. Numbers can be written with or without decimal. Numbers are always numeric values written without quotations. As we already know, only strings are written with quotations. That's great. You remember everything. Let's move on to the next topic.
Computers have large memory spaces. As good programmers, we should use this space effectively. In real life, we store stuff in containers, like placing food in containers before keeping them in a refrigerator. In programming, these storage containers are called variables. Let's see how we will store hello in a variable greetings in JavaScript. This code means we are storing hello in the variable called greetings. Also, the statement must be enclosed within double quotes and must be closed with a semicolon. Whereas while storing numerical values, the value shouldn't be enclosed within double quotes. This program will store the value 100 in the variable we named score. Once we store anything in the variable, we can use this statement to print the stored value. The number of times we'll call a variable is the number of times the value in the variable will be printed. For decision making, JavaScript uses Boolean values. These Boolean values are true and false. For example, now that you've learned how to store values in variables, check out a few code snippets on variables in the Programs section and practice your skills in the compiler in the Programming Hub app.